Welcome back in, everybody, to a Football Friday bye-week edition of Birds 365 here on JAKIB Sports. I'm your host, Zander Krause. That's my co-host, John McMullen. You can give us follows on X at Zander Krause and at JF McMullen. Appreciate everybody being here. Don't forget to think about becoming a member. We have plenty of jersey giveaways that we will do this year, and we've already done quite a few. I think I'm up to 25 giveaways so far already this season. Not all jerseys, but a bunch of giveaways we've done this year. We got plenty more. So you can become a member on the YouTube channel by clicking join, or you can go to jakibsports.com and become a member there for some extra entries in that. Appreciate you guys being here. Hit the like button on the show today. I'd like to get to 200 plus likes again, and subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're not already. John, midterm grades, my friend. We are at 6-2 at the bye week. Just about smack dab in the middle of the season at halftime of the Packer game. We will officially be halfway through the regular season for the Eagles. I want to talk about some midterm grades. Before we do that, we'll go broader first. Let's go midterm grade, John. Let's start offense. And just kind of give me your midterm grade on the offense as a whole. We'll talk about some specific players, but your offense as a whole, midterm grade.
Boy, that's tough. I wish we started with the defense.
If you want to
start, I think the expectations, that doesn't matter. I think the expectations clouded. Like I try to come into the season like it's a blank slate. And if it were, I'd give them like a B. But the expectations like really lower that dramatically. And I think maybe some of those expectations are all base, as I've kind of explained throughout the weeks. You know, this assumption that they should score 30 points, 35 points a game, historic numbers. There's never been any evidence of that. So I think that knocks it down to probably a C. But I think overall, they're a lot like most NFL offenses, but on the good side, in that their high points are very good, but they have the low points as well, and people think they shouldn't have the low points. I've come to the conclusion that, hey, you know what? Maybe they should have the low points like everybody else.
Feels like the Eagles are lower than normal. Like 0 completions in the second half, just like.
Well, those outliers, but again, see, I think. Technically their numbers are better than last year's offense, passing the ball pretty significantly.
Yeah, Galen's having a really good passing year. I mean, numbers-wise, he is.
Now, obviously, the running game is down from the historic levels. So, and that's been the issue as they try to figure out the adjustments. Plus, the other teams on the field. So, they have made it their number one priority to stop the running game. And I think that's with the Eagles, that's more than Saquon. It's also Jalen and his impact on the game. And that's been their number one goal. And I think that the last 2 weeks, the Eagles have kind of figured it out with the more play action, the more traditional play action, the more heavy packages, getting Fred involved. They figured a way to counter it, and now we're going to see coming out of the bye if other teams and good teams, Green Bay and Detroit to start, have looking at that film and saying, all right, they're doing this. Now we have to counter and do something. So it's going to be interesting. It's always a human chess match, but I think expectation wise, it's a C. I think if you had a clean slate and you didn't know they were Super Bowl champions, you just woke up and you'd say that's a B compared to contextually everybody else.
So can I meet in the middle and go C plus? Is that fair?
Yeah, you can do whatever you want. You can go D. You can go, some people have such high expectations, they think it's terrible, Yeah,
but don't you think it's not like I get the expectations come into it, but a lot of expectations, John, are created by personnel, are created by past success, are created.
I mean,
they are the most expensive offense in football.
I always bring up the Joe Torre Yankees because I'm a Yankees fan. Look, there's nothing wrong with having high expectations.
Yeah, and
Their
if you
expectation was
the most, you had high expectations. That's kind of my thought on the Eagles offense. I don't think all the expectations are unfair or even jaded by the Super Bowl.
well, their expectations, I think, are a little bit unfair from the perspective that yes, they won the Super Bowl, but they didn't win the Super Bowl the way people think they won the Super Bowl. Um, I think at least a lot of people. Like, again, where's the evidence that this was ever a high flying offense? A Peyton Manning Broncos offense, a greatest show on turf offense, that they should score 33, 34 points a game. Where's that evidence? It never happened. That was just people's perception that should happen because, well, they have great receivers. They have a great tight end. They have a great offensive line. They have a great back. They have a great quarterback. So they should be that. But they never were that because they play a different style, which is based first and foremost on the running game, and having I use the term unique quarterback. I think Jalen Hurts, by the way, is having a very good year. Very good year. Tremendous, way better than last year.
How would you midterm grade Jalen Hurts? B plus?
Yes. I'm not going to give him an A, but yes. I think he's playing much better than he played last season. Much better. Now, the offensive line has not played as well. Saquon has not played as well. A bunch of guys haven't played as well. But I think, and I get it. They're the outliers. Where was it? Tampa, where he didn't complete a pass in the second half. The first half against the Rams.
Yep.
There have been these awful stretches, but again, because they won the Super Bowl does not mean there weren't awful stretches last year. There were awful stretches. Carolina, Baltimore. He tends to, make a play.
Yeah, and you're right when you add the context. Part of that is, look around the league. Everybody has down week, you know what I mean, or down weeks or down moments. Yeah, you're not going to be riding the high forever. All right, good stuff then on the offense. John, real quick before we go into some of the individual players, defense broadly, no specific player here. How would you kind of grade them out through the first years, including, I like your conversation about expectations. If you had a clean slate, that's a little bit tougher to do on the defense because of all the changes that they had from a defense that was number one overall.
Yeah.
I think the expectation in the defense might be even muddier than the offense because of how good they were last year and then how many changes they had. Where are you on the defense?
Yeah, well, I give the defense a bigger curve to grade on because I expected them to be worse. I expected them to have significant growing pains because of the changes that you mentioned. And they have to a certain degree, but I think for the most part, they played better than I expected, except for the Giants game, the one outlier. But yeah, I've been very impressed with the defense and the fact that what they've been able to accomplish without some of the parts they lost. We start with the edge rushers. Which are not great on paper. The cornerback 2 situation, which has been not great. Playing a rookie safety, which has been uneven, as Vic Fangio called it, and its impact on Reed Blankenship, at least according to Vic. I think Jihad has been great as a first-round pick.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, that looks like it's heading in a negative direction. I think Morrow's been great. I think Jalen Carter has not, but he's still an immense presence.
That's more about his expectations, right? He's still been great, but for Jalen Carter,
I don't think he has been great from the standpoint of what he should be. I think that's fair to say. But I still think he's the most talented player on the defense. He's the guy who gets game planned for, and his impact on other players is still there. but I don't think he's playing up to his standard. And he'd be the first to admit that, by the way. But I think you saw some signs of it against the Giants. So overall, similar B, maybe a B minus because they don't have as much talent as the offense, but they still have significant talent. I mean, Carter's great from a talent perspective. Bond's great. Campbell's great. Mitchell's great. DeJean's great. That's a lot of good players. They still have a lot of good players on defense. But the issue is, Ringo, Adoree', Makuba, Hunt, Patrick Johnson's getting, representative playing time, which shouldn't be, it's not the best case scenario. There's some holes, but I think the sum of is greater than the parts on defense, and the sum is lesser than the parts on offense.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Where would you grade out the defense then? You might have said it, I might have missed it. C plus? Where would you be?
I'm going B minus probably.
Right, I'm good with that. Good with that. I'm kind of in the same ballpark there. John, I'm going to look a little bit individually, but before I do that, I'll go to the coordinators. Patullo is obviously new on the offensive side of the ball. A lot of conversation about Patullo all year. Where are you on Kevin Patullo and how you would analyze his first year as the play caller of this offense?
Yeah, a lot of good. I think the red zone stuff has been tremendous, especially a lot of creativity in the red zone, that stuff you haven't seen before with Dallas Goedert, finally taking advantage of his abilities in a condensed area. So I think there's been a lot of good from that perspective. I think it's been difficult for them to get layups when things go bad, but that's been a long-term problem with this team. And I don't know where it stems from, because we're through 4 offensive coordinators, 4 play callers. It's been a consistent problem. Is it the quarterback? Is it the play callers? Is it Nick Sirianni? Whoever you want to blame it on. They have a real difficult when things are going poorly. Like, where's it? And I say this all the time. All I did every day at training camp was watch a million throws to Will Shipley in the flat. Why not throw it to Will Shipley in the flat and see what happens when you need a layup? And when things are going bad, you have these 3 and outs in a row, or no completions in the thing about no completions in a half of football. Like, how is that even possible when you can throw a swing pass or a bubble screen or even a little flip forward? If you want to give it to Xavier Gibson, how is that even possible? They gotta do a better job getting the layups. The biggest improvement offensively for the Philadelphia Eagles is how they've handled the blitz, which has been top of the league. It's funny how the NFL, you fix one issue and then something else leaks. It's like being a homeowner with an old house. You fix something and something else on the other end starts giving you trouble. And they fixed the issues with the blitz, and now they can't throw it against zone defenses. It's like bizarre. The NFL has a way of, I don't know, putting you in your place. So overall, I think there's a lot of good. I think it'll keep getting better. I think they really got something with these heavy looks with Fred and the play action. Jalen has proven that he can at least do it at a level where he feels comfortable with it, and that enables you to do a lot of different things with the running game. So yeah, I think it's far more positive than has been portrayed. Excuse me. With Kevin Patullo.
I agree. I think the best part about Petula so far this year has been the red zone. I mean, that's not easy to do, John. That's typically the hardest part of the field to be successful. And the fact that he has a knack for that early is definitely a good sign. And I think he's getting a little, he's finding his way. I think you're right about a lot of the conversation where people sometimes go too far in the play caller. But I do think there is a learning curve, when you're a first time play caller, of learning your quarterback tendencies, what to do where. And I think he's picking up on some of that better. I understand. I don't know what the intent of each play call is, but it looks like to the eye that's what's happening with Petullo. I'll remain optimistic that he continues to get better and him and Jalen get more comfortable together. John, I want to look at some of the players who replaced some of the guys we lost. Moro Ajomo, somebody we talked about a lot in the offseason, John. How do you see his year so far this year?
Yeah, I think he's having a great season. Exactly what the Eagles wanted, stepping up in that sort of role, and he's playing a lot of snaps. He's getting a lot of pressure. He's doing exactly what they need him to do. And I think that's only going to improve as Jalen Carter gets back to his normal status. So, I mean, the Eagles' pass rush this year has been basically all interior. Basically all Jalen and Moro Ajomo. And they've done a good job for the most. Moro even more so compared to expectations, of course. I'm not comparing Moro to Jalen Carter, but for what was expected of him, he's having a better season than Jalen Carter is having. So I think it's been all positive for Moro Ajomo.
Yeah, me too. I think he's been awesome, and I'm happy about that. I know we debated him a lot in the summer. I don't think he's quite been Milton Williams, but he's been close enough as a 7th-round pick in his 3rd year. I think another year of
Yeah,
growth.
I mean, great story too.
Yeah, I really like Moro. I don't know him personally, but just from what I've heard of him, just seems like a smart, genuine dude, and with a great work ethic, which I appreciate.
But definitely smart. I think he went to Texas at 16, got into college at 16. Yeah, he's really smart. That's, the Eagles pride themselves on finding high IQ players. He's very cerebral, very smart player. But he's tremendous athlete. I think the biggest question with Moro was, can you take advantage of him in the running game? Because he's got to play significant number of snaps. And right now he's been holding up well enough there as well. To the point where you say the Eagles might lose him to a big contract in after next season.
Well, it's like one of those good problem things to have. If you told me, John, that the Eagles would let 2 defensive linemen walk out the door, to the tune of $25 million plus because they were that good, I would tell you you're crazy. The Eagles don't let D linemen walk, but when you got so many of them, it makes a little bit more sense. So it is a credit to them.
I don't see the next one though. That's the problem.
Ajoma?
Well, I don't see the next in line to be the next.
Right.
Milton
You mean
Ajoma.
Ajoma was there to let Milton go. Who's going to replace Ajoma?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Well, I don't know. Maybe they go for that in the draft. I don't think it's Ty Robinson, or at least it doesn't look like it at this point.
Not yet. Not yet.
No, we will see. John, also out the door last year was Darius Slay and Isaiah Rodgers. I'm not going to put one player here. I'm just going to go cornerback 2. It's I saw somebody, I think it was Greg Cosell, the law firm of Jackson, Ringo, and Bennett, the law firm holding down cornerback 2. Post Slay, post Isaiah. How do you view that position? How would you grade that after the first 8 weeks?
It's been an issue. I think, Ringo has had the best stretches when he's been out there, but he's had some egregious stretches as well. And I don't know if it's good stretches because I've been, I keep shaking my head, specifically the Tampa game and the Giants game, the second Giants game. It's like they didn't attack him. So I don't know if those high points are legitimate or just bad football by the opposition. because Sam Baker was throwing it at Quignon. It's like, what are you doing, dude? And the same thing with the Giants and Jackson Dart is a younger quarterback maybe doesn't fully understand the situation. Plus, they don't have receivers. That factors into it as well. But yeah, I've been very surprised how little, if that's Aaron Rodgers out there, he's got 7 and, on a bullseye, and he's going to go until Ringo proves he can stop it. But we haven't seen that. So I don't think it's been as bad as people have made it out to be. And I think coming out of the bye, it's Ringo's job. Somebody's got to take it from him. And maybe the Packers attack him. Maybe the Lions attack him, and maybe he loses it. But I think it's his job again. And we'll see if it toggles back and forth.
Yeah. Well, what's the best way to help a weak cornerback without actually improving the cornerback spot, John?
Well, cover 3, which is what mainly.
Yeah, I'm talking about there something different.
What, Cooper moving outside?
No, I'm talking about getting a fucking pass rush, baby.
Oh yeah.
Getting Myles Garrett would help that cornerback 2 spot in spades, baby.
Yeah, that would definitely help. But yeah, I don't think they're moving Cooper outside. At least,
So even with the Carter trade, you're still feeling like week 12, week 13, week 14 roll around. You still don't think Coop will be outside?
Well, I think it gives them more options, and to use Dallas, because that's the best example I can use, because CD plays inside a lot. I think, then you want Cooper inside. And if it's more of an X receiver that's dominant or a Z receiver, you maybe want him more outside. If Carter can play, and by the way, I was looking at his tape yesterday, he's not playing well. So you got to get over two hurdles.
What are you seeing on the Carter tape?
Nothing good.
No, I mean, but is it easy to identify a why? Is it because he's out of shape? Is it because he's just not getting the moves aren't as good? Like, what do you think it is?
I don't think I've ever seen an out of shape NFL cornerback. Those don't exist. Yeah, he's not playing well. He wasn't playing well. Now maybe that's injury related. Maybe it's being on a bad team. It wears you down. There's a lot of things. That's another great thing about Myles Garrett. Doesn't get worn down no matter what. He doesn't get woe is me. Oh, I'm on a bad team mentality. So I don't know, but he has not been playing well, Michael Carter. So I think number one, he's got to prove that he can play. And number two, to give you an example, all right, let me pull this up. All right, 113 corners graded by PFF. Keely Ringo is 64th. Not as bad as I think people would think. Michael Carter is 111 of 113. He's not been playing well. When he was playing, and he lost
111 of 113.
111 of 113. And he lost. Remember, he got benched for Brownlee. The Jets went out to acquire. He got benched. He's not been playing well. Now, earlier in his career, he was a pretty good player. So, maybe they can get him. And to give you an example, Dory Jackson, by the way, is 109 of 113. So he's below Adoree. And Adoree has not played well. So, yeah, for anybody who thinks that's like a slam dunk trade, I don't agree. In fact, I still think the Eagles' hope is just what I said. Keely continues to improve and locks that down, and Cooper stays in the slot for the most part. Obviously, he's already playing outside the base when there's only 2 receivers on the field.
Yeah, interesting stuff there, John. With those guys, Michael Carter feels like another Temu trade.
It feels like and
In
Well,
line
actually,
with, you're stuttering, John. He's in line with the Temu offseason, isn't it? I
how
hope
many
he's
times?
I hope he's a great player. I hope he does. But
How many times did they make these trades? The Mechie trade,
yeah,
everybody's
that's what I
excited
mean.
about.
Mechie and a
The
couple of them
Bennett
icons.
trade, the Bennett trade, the Bigsby trade. Now, it's funny because Bigsby, everybody was out on after he got benched as a kickoff. Now everybody's back in on him because he had a big game against the Giants. But none of those trades are splash trades. Every time Howie makes a move, Howie fleeced so and so. Yeah, he didn't fleece Las Vegas with Thomas Booker for Jacorian Bennett. He may not have fleeced Jacksonville with 2 picks for Tank Bigsby. Maybe he did. Still too early. He certainly didn't fleece Houston for John Mechie. He already traded John Mechie to get Michael Carter. And he probably didn't fleece the Jets on Michael Carter, to be honest. Now, did he make his team incrementally better with each of those moves? Yeah, that's the goal. But they weren't splash moves by any stretch.
Yep. Good stuff there, Johnny Mac. All right. I want to get a grade on the 2 sophomore players who you hear sophomore slumps a lot in the NFL. There's no guarantee that a player who plays great in his rookie year is going to come back and have just as good of a year or improve. Quinyon and Coop, we talked a lot about that with Mike Gill as well in the summer, where are we sure that Vaughn and Quinyon and Coop, guys who are really just did it for the first time, are going to be able to do it again? How do you grade out Quinyon and Cooper in their second year as Eagles?
Oh, great! I would put Cooper at A plus. A plus. Can I give A plus plus?
Yeah, you can. If you want, you can. Cooper is amazing, man.
The guy is just a freaking football player, and that's how Vic described him. That's how everybody described him. He can do anything. He can do everything.
Say he'd be like if you looked up football player in the dictionary, it'd be a picture of Cooper.
It's unbelievable his versatility. Man, he's going to be in the conversation to be the best pure football player. When Ed and I do that list, we're still going next year. He's going to be in the conversation to be number 1. I'll tell you that right now. If he continues to play, and think about all the talent on this team, he is an amazing, amazing football player. And Quinyon Mitchell is not far behind as a corner.
Yeah, I agree.
My only concern, I brought this up a couple times. My only concern about Quinyon is he's very, very handsy. Now, he's already got the reputation as being one of the best corners in football, so that helps because you get the benefit of the doubt if you're a star, and people or already consider him a star. But every week you see these jersey pulls that are very obvious. And I fear that's going to hurt the Eagles in a big situation at some point where, for whatever reason, the officials, see it and, all of a sudden, maybe a 3rd and 10 in the playoffs that win the game turns into a 1st and goal because they call it at the wrong moment.
Right.
He's very, very.
You're right. He's a handy corner. Yep, he's a handy corner.
And that can be a very good thing, but you got to be more savvy about it. And I think he'll get more savvy about it. But right now, the Eagles have gotten some breaks because he could have a lot of PIs at this stage. That's my only concern with Quinyon Mitchell.
Yeah, I agree. That's a fair concern, but overall, he's a tremendous player, no doubt. And how about that Coop grade A plus? John, how about a rookie player here? But the reason I bring him up is because you let a guy go who really was a solid player there. How do you grade Andrew Makuba and just that safety spot where you lose Gardner Johnson last year, you trade him away, and you replaced him right now effectively with a rookie? It's been Sidney Brown. It's been Makuba. There's been some back and forth there. How do you grade that spot and then kind of just Makuba specifically in his rookie year?
I'm going to go C. Vic called it uneven. I think that was
that's a good word. Yeah.
Perfect descriptor for it. Clearly he's a playmaker. He can do some things. The Eagles were right about that. He is comfortable in space. He's had some bad missed tackles. That's never a surprise with young guys coming from college. But he also showed he's physical for his size. He stoned, I think it was Mason in Minnesota, inside the 5-yard line. That looked like it was going to be a touchdown. So he shows I'm still very high on him, but right now I think uneven is a very good description. Too many blown coverages, too many missed tackles. But I think it's only going to get better.
Yeah. Agreed there. I think that's pretty fair for him. All right, last one here on specific players. Tyler Steen, who replaced Mekhi Becton last year.
I'm going to give Tyler a very high grade because of expectations. Like I thought they were going to really struggle with Tyler Steen, and he's been good. I'm going to give him a B+.
Wow, that's high. Even with because I feel like he has been probably by no fault of his own. I feel like he's been a letdown in the run game because he just can't decleat people the way Mekhi Becton could. Mekhi Becton.
Well, no, he's a different.
Tyler's just not that big.
He's definitely a different style of player.
Yeah, right.
But I think he's been very good. I think by and large, really the only issues have been, jumping off sides and the tush push. Sometimes it hurts, sometimes it doesn't. He's very good run blocker, very good pass protector to this point. I think he's the one guy we all go, well, Cam looks banged up. Landon looks banged up. Even Jordan at times, people have said he hasn't played well, which I don't necessarily understand, but people have said it. And Lane is pretty much above reproach, but you can make a strong argument that he's been more consistent than Cam Jurgens and Landon Dickerson this year. Now, with Landon, obviously, that has to do with the injuries, and Cam to a certain degree as well. But I think he's been great, and Brett Toth as well. It's only one game, but my God, was that a good game?
Well, you know what the difference was there, John? Jeff Stalin had a week to prep him. The week prior, everyone's like, "Oh, Jeff Stalin, why do you keep putting Toth in?" He came in on a whim because Cam Jurgens went down. Jeff had a week to prepare Toth, and he looked a lot better. I'm like, yeah, it's about on par for Jeff Stalin. He's going to.
By the way, for all the talk about the Eagles, because I pulled up the PFF grades, for all the talk about the Eagles' offensive line, Jurgens is 15 of 33 at center. Obviously, not where he should be, but not terrible.
No, not terrible.
Steen is 19 of 82 at guard. 19 of 82.
Pretty good for Steen.
Dickerson is up to 26 after the bad start. 26 of 82. Still well above average. Mailata is 7 of 77 at tackle. He's usually 1 or 2, so that's a disappointment. 7 of 77. Lane's 15 of 77. Which is still really good. And Toth has played enough snaps. He's number 5 of 82 because they grade him at guard. Number 5 of 82, Brett Toth. Yeah. But that's all because of one game at center. Yeah. So it doesn't really matter.
In that game, so it's skewed a little bit. But all right, good stuff there, John. Good grading out. I'll do one more here. Special teams. Started the season hot. Not so hot anymore. Kick returner's been a problem. How do you grade out special teams through the first 8 weeks?
Well, actually, they kind of fixed kick return after they benched Bigsby.
That's true.
Will Shipley was great against the Giants. He got 2 returns out to the plus 40, so you give him great field position. So I think they fixed that with Shipley and Gibson. Now, the problem with Gibson, he had some ball security issues. That's why he got cut. he's a good returner. Everybody knows that. But so we'll see if that crops up. But he also gave them a little bit more a punt returner than Jahan Dotson was giving them. So that's a positive as well. Jake's been great for the most part. Obviously, he had that one bad miss in Minnesota, and then he banged off like a 58-yarder with the whistle issue. So, but he's having a great season. Braden Mann's been great. Coverage teams have been good. I think for the most part, it's been a really strong season on special teams. I'd give them a B, maybe even a B plus. But now I can't give them a B plus because of all the kick return with the dirty kicks with the Josh Carty. Like, and by the way, that's all Mechie and who's gone and Bigsby, who's not going to return kickoffs. So, you probably don't have to worry about that moving forward.
Yeah, fair enough. We'll see how that evolves throughout the season as well. Obviously, had a very good start on special teams with the blocked field goals and things of that nature. So good stuff.
Yeah,
there.
didn't even bring up the blocked field goals and blocked punt. They got the
right.
blocked punt too.
That's right, blocked punt. Correct. All right, good stuff, John. Let's get some super chats here to end the show. I want to thank our 2 new members on the show today. Quantum Philly becomes a YouTube member. Thank you, brother. We appreciate your support. If you're new to the channel, welcome in, my guy. We got a lot of Eagles content all day long. If you're not and you just became a member, appreciate you being here and for doing it, my friend. That support of the channel goes a long way. And then, how do you pronounce that, John? Gadsden basketball, maybe? Gads D78 basketball. Thank you, brother, for becoming a member, man. We appreciate it. You can tell me how to pronounce that so I get it better. But I appreciate you for becoming a member. Here's Corporate Pumper. Since we're talking fairy tales, would you trade Jalen Hurts for Myles Garrett? I would even throw in a 1. They get their QB and Tanner takes the helm. That is the most pumper super chat.
Come on, why do you got to go sci-fi on us, pumper? There's a great Why do you got it? We're having a nice little story, and you got to go all crazy. Why do you got to make up the fantasy?
It's the B pumper way, John. It's the B pumper way.
Now you don't. The value of quarter as we're talking about. Look, Myles Garrett's a better pure football player than Jalen Hurts. Myles Garrett is not on a football team prepared to win because they don't have a quarterback. Quarterback is the most impactful position on the field, maybe the most impactful position in sports. You can make an argument for starting pitcher in Game 6 of the World Series or something like that. But certainly the most impactful position in football. And if you have a quarterback, as Minnesota should learn this year, you hold on to him like grim death. I don't know how you got him, but hold on to him. And the Eagles have to hold on to their quarterback.
Yeah, they're not doing that. Pumper, appreciate it, brother. James M becomes a legend member. Thank you, James. Appreciate you, brother. That support goes a long way. So we do appreciate that. Our guy James M is our newest legend member. That might be enough to activate a giveaway today on Zander Time. We will see. Jason A-Team says, Steen this last Giants game was standing up Dexter Lawrence one-on-one a few times. He has been a nice surprise. No wonder Stout stuck with him.
Yeah, Stout is, took a couple hits, rare hits, with Toth and Steen. But he's again proving that he deserves the benefits of the doubt most times. I think that's fair to say. But yeah, I've been impressed with Tyler Steen. I thought there were going to be more issues there. And he's been very, very quiet. You don't have a lot of games where you're saying, oh, that was terrible by Tyler Steen. He's been a really solid player.
Yeah, good stuff.
And for him, it took a while. As he played 4 years at Vanderbilt at right tackle, and he played his 1 year at Alabama at left tackle. He was a tackle. He was more comfortable at tackle. So it took him a long time to transition inside and be comfortable with it.
Yeah, very different playing tackle versus guard. And Steen's done a nice job this year. Hopefully he keeps developing because might have some offensive line turnover coming up here. I don't know how much longer Lane will go. John, we've talked about Lane, if the Eagles trade for Myles Garrett, I can guarantee you Lane will be coming back. Okay? I can guarantee you Lane Johnson does not hang up the cleats if they brought in Myles. Another benefit to bringing in Garrett.
Yeah, I don't know where Lane is with that because he's bringing it up a lot. So I think it's got more to do with off the field stuff than on the field stuff with Lane Johnson. And I think this might be his last year, but we'll see. We'll see.
Interesting, good stuff there. All right, Johnny Mac. End of the bye week here on the specific week. Next week is kind of weird because they don't have a game on the weekend, John. They don't play till Monday night, so a little bit of an extra half.
It's gonna be a nightmare stretch, I think. Night games all over the place. You got Monday night. You got a Friday game. You got the
John. It's a beautiful stretch of football, though, man. This is where the money is made, baby. You are getting into the parts of the season. November football, things get serious. You got great competition coming up. We're about to learn a lot about the Eagles. It's going to be a fun ride, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. Maybe the most surprising thing is that, you got that, you have the 2 games with Washington at the end of the season that are to be determined, the timing. Everything else, 8:15, 8:20, 4:25, 3. That's the Black Friday game against Chicago. 8:15 Chargers. That's night game. They have the one outlier, 4:25 against the Bills. The one outlier, December 14th, the crappy Raiders, 1:00. That's the only time you'll get to see the Eagles in the early window. Quite a few early windows. Early in the season. That has evaporated. And boy, I look at November 16th, 8:20. That's the game we all wanted to see last year.
Yeah, the Lions. Yep.
And it's at Lincoln Financial Field, so I think that's going to help the Eagles. That to me is they're both really interesting. At Green Bay, November 10th, coming off the bye. That's a very interesting game. And then Detroit. And even at Dallas, because Dallas is so good offensively. I think that's going to tell you all you need to know, that 3-game stretch, about your Philadelphia Eagles.
Yep, good stuff, Johnny Mac. Bye week next week, or no, this weekend, and then
we're on the bye week. Yeah, we're on the bye week. We just finished the bye week.
We'll be
from our perspective. Although, who knows? We might be talking later today about Myles Garrett. Who knows?
I pray. I pray to the good Lord, and I don't pray to the good Lord often about football. That doesn't make the prayers. But, man, Myles Garrett and Eagle Green, see you on Broad Street, everybody. Johnny Mac, your final thought here on a Football Friday.
Trade deadline coming up Tuesday. It's Tuesday, next Tuesday, November 4th, 4:00. Generally, you get stuff done a little bit earlier. So, if you're interested, keep those phones.
John, one thing I got to mention before we wrap. They were calling me a curmudgeon yesterday. They're calling me John Jr. yesterday because I'm talking about Halloween. And I'm like, I'm not in on Halloween or the parties or any of that bullshit. I guess we have to mention today it's Halloween, right?
Happy. I totally
candy tonight, John. You put on a costume, John.
You reminded me it was Halloween. I knew because my wife
Daniel Belfield just reminded me.
Yeah, I knew because she was getting the candy ready yesterday. But that is her department, and that is not my department.
No,
that is her department.
I did not think it would be. You might. Rumor is John's dressing up as Myles Garrett for Halloween this year.
We'll see. I'm dressing up as a reporter covering the Philadelphia Eagles.
There you go. What you actually are. Good stuff, Johnny Mac. Appreciate you, brother. We will talk to you maybe Monday. Well, definitely Monday. Maybe
Definitely.
before Monday. All right, we'll see. Johnny Mac, good show, brother. I'll talk to you then.
All right, see y'all.
All right, later.
Happy Halloween. There you go.
There's Johnny Mac, John McMullen joining us right here on Birds 365.